What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be doing a Houston Texans 7-round mock draft. So if you guys are new, would love for you guys to stick around, like, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. And without further ado, let's kick right into this. No need for a long intro. Join the Discord if you haven't already. We have about 700 members in there. Ridiculous, but do stuff over there like all 22 tape studies and fan mock drafts that you can't do here on YouTube because copyrights. So before I jump into the draft, we're going to take a quick look at the roster because it's kind of nice just to actually understand every little intricacy that's what's going on. We're going the standard route, quarterback, running back, wide receiver. You guys know what I'm talking about. But quarterback-wise, Davis Mills, it's just pretty obvious that he is a backup / minus level starter, and he's just not good enough. And D'Amico's been talking about the value of a young QB. Is it possible that you go away from that? Sure, but I just don't think that the way your roster's built right now, you're necessarily going to skip out on that number 2 overall pick. But also looking at the running backs, you got double Jared Dokes here, which is awesome. You got the clones themselves, but Dameon Pierce, awesome player, love him to death. You know, I was one of the guys who I did not get an official grade on last year, didn't get enough touches, didn't think he'd be getting the hype that he did, but he's been absolutely phenomenal. Love to see how he's been playing. Very nice fantasy pickup for me as well. But besides that, not really a huge fan of those behind him. So I definitely got to make sure that we probably draft a guy later on because it's a very stacked running back room, running back class, that is. But wide receiver wise, Brandon Cooks, John Mechie, that's a very nice group right there. Mari Rogers, getting him as well. Incredible. Like, that was an incredible pickup. Granted, now you have pretty much 2 guys competing for the slot, but I am definitely looking at somebody to be able to be that boundary receiver. Nico Collins definitely could be that, but again, he's not a plus level starter. He's a very solid player. Jalen Camp, one of those dudes who was like 6, I think he was 6'3", 6'4", 220 pounds and had like a ton of bench press reps. So really nice guy to have if you are able to keep him down the line. Tight ends, I know you have 2 of them up for contract, which we'll go over that soon. But Brevin Jordan and then Quitoriano, I think he was an NFL PA Bowl, or he might have been an East West Shrine Bowl type of star. It'd be cool to have him like as a 7th round dude, but definitely not starter level. Brevin Jordan's awesome. I love Brevin Jordan. I had him as an early 2nd, and then he fell pretty far due to personality concerns. Tackle-wise, you have Titus Howard and obviously Laramie Tunsil. Those are your big names there. Austin Deckles is a nice backup tackle for a swing tackle as well. Besides that, I think there are genuine concerns whether you are going to keep these guys for the long run because that is going to be a nasty, nasty build. But Laramie said he wants to be there for the long haul, and we know how much Trent Williams was in terms of an asset to San Francisco. D'Amico Ryans obviously knows the impact of having a star left tackle. Laramie Tunsil could be the same thing. Guards, Kenyon Green had a pretty rough start to his career, but I say he should play left tackle. That's my dream for him, is to be a star left tackle, because the one game he played was against Alabama, and he locked down Will Anderson. Besides that, I knew there were some big flaws, and I'm genuinely concerned whether he will be a consistent starter down the line. Besides that, I do think another guard is due. I think we should definitely look at that. Something I haven't addressed enough for you guys in my own mock drafts, which is why I'm doing videos like this. And then looking at the centers, Justin Britt, I don't really think Justin Britt is the long-term option at 31 years old with 1 more year on his contract. And Jimmy Morrissey is, again, pretty much just going to be a practice squad dude from Pitt. Going from the D-line back out to the corners, you got Malik Collins here and Roy Lopez. I honestly like this. It's not great, but it's not as bad as I think you guys are saying it is. You have good enough guys to make an impact, but definitely in need of an upgrade. But again, it's not all hope is lost. Edgewise, Jerry Hughes. I mean, y'all see the age right here. Jonathan Grenard's nice. I like Jonathan Grenard. Thomas Booker, drafted last year. Wasn't very high on him, but I mean, if anybody's going to make it work, probably going to be a former San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator. So I do like that quite a bit. But yeah, Mario Addison, Jerry Hughes being the primary guys with Jonathan Grenard, you need some help there as well. But luckily for us, this is a pretty nice edge class. Looking at the linebackers before we go to the safeties and corners, you have Christian Kirksey, who, I mean, again, you have him for 1 more year. He's a good enough guy. I personally think Christian Kirksey has a good veteran leadership He's been around, so that's nice. Garrett Wallow was a player who I really liked a little while ago. Christian Harris is awesome. Love that pick, and he's made some big plays for you as well. Looking maybe to add another linebacker to that group. Safety-wise, Eric Murray, interesting. But one of my favorite players. He graded out as one of the few guys who got above an 80 grade for me. Jalen Pitre. He's been phenomenal. Love him to death. And, he is going to be a really big star for you down the line. Might want to look for some backup safeties or another starter as well based on your depth chart. But Derek Stingley, obviously going to be your cornerback one. I'm excited to see how he works with D'Amico. I think he's going to have a big career jump, even though he did not perform poorly at all last year. That's great. Steven Nelson, solid veteran. I think having him on that deal is incredible. So Desmond King as well. You're kind of just napping up the sloppy seconds of dudes who are, starter quality. So I don't think cornerback is necessarily a position I need to hit the gas on because I have gone after corner before you, and I think that was a little bit short-sighted. So that's going to be the guys who we have on roster. Let's look at the guys who we have up for contracts. Guys who are of note, Rasheem Green, solid player. KPL, he's old. So the more I look at this, you got Royce Freeman here, who honestly he did not have. He was not completely awful. I like Royce Freeman personally. He was really awesome there at Oregon. But the big one right here is OJ Howard. He was kind of a starter quality player in my eyes. Jeff Driscoll was a guy who actually started, I think, a game for you guys. So Blake Cashman as well. I don't think Blake Cashman gets brought back because he didn't work with Robert Saleh, who was also a former San Francisco 49ers DC. So I'm just not really a huge fan of most of your free agents. So it's actually going to be pretty nice that we have this amount of draft capital. And then OJ Howard, of course, that's the one where I'm a little bit more concerned about replacing. But let's get right into this. If we are at number 2, I think it's pretty obvious. It's down to 2 players for me, and that's Bryce Young and Jalen Carter. You could say you want to go after someone like CJ. I get that. And if you guys really want that, awesome, you can select it because that's the glory of this. There are no trades. I could factor them in, but it just changes. It creates too much RNG and just makes it a little bit too complicated. It's just much more nice to see, hey, who falls to us and who we should take. But I think Bryce Young is the best QB in the class by a long shot. Again, you could say CJ is, and if that is your prerogative, go with it. I will not push back against you. But at pick number 12, looking at the guys who are available, Peter Skoronski would be awesome at that guard role and potentially a tackle, but I do worry that his arm length is going to get the best of him. So I'm not going to be investing that high of draft capital into that position with guys who I'm uncertain about. Now, if we had someone like Penei Sewell, yeah, if you had someone of that caliber, I would be saying, let's fire on all cylinders, let's get him. Michael Mayer has been hinted here. I'm not going to take a tight end this high. I know there's some good ones down the board. Especially, you guys like to scoop up the players I really like that fall. Josh Wiley will probably be the guy who I look for this team. But wide receiver seems to be the easy get. Edge rusher, defensive interior as well. But I can't, in my right mind, go that way when, Kalijah Cansey might be there at the beginning of round 2. Keanu Benton will probably be there at the beginning of round 3. Gervin Dexter. There are dudes down the board that are way better value than the guys who are right here. So looking at it, I think wide receiver is going to be the route I go. We could go down and get someone like Cedric Tillman for sure. But, you're not getting a wide receiver 1 quality player. And I'm not going to continue just pecking at Justin Shorter every draft because that is, what I love to do. I'm going to go Quentin Johnston here. I think getting him, or else you could swap for a smaller wide receiver to replace Brandon Cooks since there has been some issues there, would be the best move for the franchise. Number 33, so we're down pretty much to B.J. Ojolari, a defensive interior, and an offensive guard/tackle. Kalijah Cansey's here. It's kind of hard to say no to him. Obviously, linebacker as well. Looking at the guys who are here, Drew Sanders would be awesome on the squad. I think it's less of a need than what I originally portrayed, but we already know how valuable Fred Warner was to D'Amico Ryans. Could definitely be that player who stands out and is an absolute baller. Could, of course, wait and then get someone like Ivan Pace or try to get a safety to play that linebacker position. So, it definitely has that open spot. I'm looking at B.J. Ojolari. I'm looking at Drew Sanders here And then defensive interior wise, Kalijah Cansey. But again, I'm going to wait for Keanu Benton. I think that he could be a really good steal down the board. So other guys who we could look at, Darnell Wright is awesome. I have him as my tackle 1. Definitely could be someone that you would end up grabbing for this team, but I do think he's a pure tackle at 330 pounds, 340 pounds to be exact. You could go John Michael Schmitz. That'd be cool. But again, I could get someone like a Olusegun Oluwatimi down the board. Don't think I need to force that pick. So I think the best value here is that linebacker spot with Drew Sanders. Again, the linebacker class does fall off. He's one of the few guys I trust to be a true Mike, and he has a bunch of pass rushing experience as a former Bama edge rusher. Pick number 65. I forgot about Carl Brooks, too. He'd be incredible on the interior. He had some reps in there, though, that he definitely looked a little bit unseasoned. I'm looking at Keanu Benton. I'm getting very excited. Sam Laporta is another dude, though. I think that we're going to use our Josh Wiley pick down the board for him because we have 75, 104, etc. So I'm not over the moon. I'm going to scroll down so you guys get to see a little bit more on my board as well. I'm not over the moon about going after a tight end at this spot because I think 3D tackles can go. I don't think Josh Wiley's going to go. So I'm going to go Keanu Benton here, who's been an absolute star at the Senior Bowl. Excited to see that. And surprise, surprise, Sam Laporta is here. So looking at what we've already gotten. So we've already gotten defensive interior. We have not gotten an edge rusher, which I do think is a position that I have been kind of neglecting. And I neglected it for the Bears draft as well, not linebacker. Edge rusher wise, you could definitely look at Isaiah Foskey. That'd be a really cool addition to this team. Pretty sure Darrell Shami decided to declare for the draft as well. But there are guys that you can add here or in free agency. I might have to pull the Isaiah Foskey card, though. Because, I mean, we all know that if someone's going to make it work, it's probably going to be D'Amico. Like, Sam Laporta is great. I have him as my, graded out as my tight end 1. But we'll see about that when more All-22 comes out on him. I think that might be the best move. Let's go Isaiah Foskey here. People have been totally underrating him now, which is weird because I was like Mr. Negative on him the whole time. So just very, very weird. Brandon Joseph would be awesome for this team. I would love Brandon Joseph. But looking at other players who are available, this is where I would look at some interior offensive linemen, not offensive tackles, but interior guys. I think Nick Salvaderi down the board would be great for this team too. You got Olusegun here. I think I took him in my last one, but it does make sense that he will be here, 6-year senior who does have some problems. But I think the fact that he's good in a moving pocket would be great for someone like Bryce who needs to be able to move around at his size. I think that's a perfect fit for the team. Probably one of the few times I will select him from now on. Pick number 138. Let's hope that we have Josh Wiley on the board, and we do. He's actually great out as my tight end too, but I think that Luke Musgrave is a bit better overall. He added weight up to 260, which is great at a guy who's 6'6". He's actually 6'6.5", which is awesome because he's almost 6'7" at 260. That's pretty damn good size for translating to the NFL. So pick number 203. Wide receiver selected, tight end selected, offensive lineman selected, defensive interior and edge rusher and linebacker selected. We've gotten all the positions we really are desperate for. Safety-wise, we got nothing in here. Absolutely nothing. It's straight cheeks. I would be interested in getting Tyler Steen because he'd be a really good backup left tackle because I know Austin Deckles was a right. So getting him, not bad value at all. He was a very consistent left tackle too. I think that'd be probably the smartest move. I don't think any of the edge rushers look remotely as good as I want them to. And defensive interior wise, honestly, Nesta Jade Silvera is probably the best dude who's left. Jared Clark is a beast though. He's pretty much what everybody thinks Siaki Ika is at the right value. So that might be where I go here. Running back wise though, I want to see who's left. You got Ibrahim, who's awesome. Tyan Evans, who's great. I mean, I'm going to wait for someone like Evan Holland at this point. I mean, Evan Holt had some phenomenal plays too. We're going to go Tyler Steen, somebody who, again, you're getting that veteran presence as a backup to a potential injury-prone tackle. I think that's a smart thing to do. Pick number 207. Again, we don't really need to go any specific position here. Looking at Cam Lawton, would like him as well to back up Josh Wiley, but we have 3 tight ends on roster. Not much of a need. Corners that I think could translate the safeties as well. You could actually get Carrington Valentine here as a backup. I really like Carrington Valentine. One of those dudes who continued popping up and had some good plays there for Kentucky. Much better than the Kentucky corner who is at the Senior Bowl as well. So might be selecting him because he's a very good player. But other positions we could target, wide receiver wise, I think Elijah Higgins. No, screw Elijah Higgins. Michael Wilson's the dude who I'd love to target. He's a bigger body, but I'm going to go Jaden Reed. He's a really good deep threat who is, I believe, in my tops. He's definitely in my top 100. But I'm forgetting where I put him. But good player, good deep threat. Pick number 221. I think at this point, I want to go Jared Clark. He's just a big guy who can eat up the middle. Totally worth it in my eyes to be able to get somebody who has the size as well as the upside. Pick number 239. I might go Tyon Evans here to replace Royce Freeman. We have all the picks. I like Tyon Evans. Evan Hull's also great. I said I would wait for him. It doesn't really matter. Cameron Peoples, too. I think he's 230 pounds, a big back. You really can't go wrong here, but I really like Tyon Evans. And he was one of my top 15 running backs starting out the year. Want to show him a little bit of love. So that is going to be the draft. Gotta love when Josh Wiley, one of my favorite picks, got an F. But that's going to be it, guys. Thank you guys so much for supporting me as always. See you on the far side.